Hello everyone! I would like to welcome you all to this webinar titled From CanSat Engineering and World CanSat Rocketry Championship to the Engineering of the Real Satellite and Launching Your Own Satellite. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Ivana Tadic from Committee for Space Program Development from Serbia. I'm a commercial pilot and I fly an Airbus A320 as a first officer. At the beginning of this webinar, in presentation 1, you watched a video from the International CanSat Rocketry competition held in Serbia in October 2019 at the airport Veliki Radinci. I will now explain what you need to do if you want to be an organizer of the National CanSat Rocketry competition, which will further on qualify you for the precipitation on the World CanSat Rocketry Championship. Please consider that this event is important for everyone, not only for you individually, but also for your organization, institution, for other organizations, institutions and companies in your country, and for your country in general. Finally, it is most important for education and students because the CanSat Rocketry program is a vertical type of education compared to the horizontal one they have in their studies. Your task will be to invite all students from your country to attend the National CanSat Rocketry competition. You have to find a place for this event and provide launch permissions if required. Standardized material for CanSat assembling you may find on Amazon, so you don't have to worry about that. You have to take care of event promotion and organization, as well as holding the competition in your country before holding a World CanSat Rocketry Championship. Please remember that you are not alone. You are part of one large global community. Please note that the FIA, World Air Sports Federation, has been informed about all of these and about their role in this project, which comes at a later stage. FIA representatives were also present at the October 2019 competition in Serbia, in the capacity of observers. To summarize, this project is very large, significant and self-sustaining, and that's why seriousness and trust are key components from the very beginning. Now, we will talk about descriptions of all activities for anyone aiming to organize the National CanSat Rocketry competition. First of all, you may form a small team and find indoor and outdoor places for the event. Outdoor place could be airport, university campus field, some sport field, park, etc. Indoor place could be any room large enough to accommodate all participants and present their results at the end of the competition, before the winner is announced. The next step would be to define the national competition basic rules and propositions. You can download the example of basic rules and propositions for the CanSat Rocketry competition on our website to comnet.info/download and use it as a reference. Furthermore, the decision has to be made whether you want to use a rocket or a helium balloon or a drone to launch your CanSats on a national competition and to define the CanSat mission. If the team decides to use rockets, they have to ask the competent authority of their country for NOTAM permission. NOTAM means Notice to Airmen. NOTAMs are created and transmitted by government agencies and airport operators to alert aircraft pilots of potential hazards along a flight route or at a location that could affect the safety of the flight. They are issued and reported for a number of reasons, such as hazards, air shows, parachute jumps, lasers, or rocket launches. Here we have an example of NOTAM from Italy. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details, but shortly this NOTAM says that minimum crossing altitude over radial 094 for 9 nautical miles at certain position linked to standard instrument departure has been raised to 4,500 feet due to activity announced by NOTAM W3084/13. So let's see what this message says. So, launching of rockets for radio soundings will take place with an area of 500 meters radius of these certain positions. These are the coordinates. And that will be a short NOTAM message for us. Besides that, ambulance, police, and fire department have to be notified about the event, and based on their assessment of the situation, they will decide whether to be present at the competition or not. In Serbia last year, we requested NOTAM from Civil Aviation Directorate and notified the ambulance, police, and fire department. We received NOTAM, and the ambulance, police, and fire department responded that their presence is not needed during this competition. On the other hand, if the team decides to use the drone or helium balloon, then everything is much simpler. The team still has to ask for permission from the same authority and inform the ambulance, police, and fire department, but then the competition is cheaper and permissions should be easily issued. Please consider that the launch of the CanSats outdoor, regardless whether the rocket or drone or helium you use, lasts very short, maximum 4 hours, because the launch with rockets is the fastest and with a helium balloon the slowest. After the launch process, each team will analyze the mission and make a presentation in front of the jury. That process can take place indoors. For example, in Serbia last year, during the first day, we launched all CanSats with rockets, and then teams went to their accommodation, and during the night they worked on their presentations. On the next day, they presented everything in front of the jury, which took place indoors. When defining a CanSat mission, you must take into account that mission must not be too complicated for the participants. You don't want them to be frightened, but to be motivated and to make the mission positively challenging for them. The students don't have the opportunity to be involved with the end-to-end life cycle of a complex engineering project in real, from conceptual design through the integration and test, actual operation of the system, and concluding with the post-mission summary and debrief, which can be dissatisfactory. This competition offers that opportunity in smaller capacity. Alright, so these are the operations that you have to take into account if you're aiming to organize the National CanSat Rocketry competition. First of all, we have field or outdoor operations. Securing the event place. When we talk about securing the event place, you should consider following steps. Place for competitors and juries. Place for spectators. Bear in mind that they should be placed further away from the launch site. Media section. If media is present, you should have an organized place for them. Installation of covered workplace. Open tent or canopy nearby launching site, for example. Setting up a table and chairs for equipment and participants in the tent or canopy or any type of covered place. Installation of power supply. Sound system installation. If necessary, during the opening ceremony, you should have selected speakers and microphones for those speaking. Connecting all cables and marking the launch place in compliance with safety measures. Then we have indoor operations. Equipping the place for presentations and closing ceremony. Projector setup for presentations. Setting up a presenter desk. Sound system installation if necessary. And setting up chairs for other teams and observers. We shall now go through the document that I mentioned earlier and learn more about the rules and propositions which will define your national CanSat competition. Just a reminder, this document you may download on our website of Committee for Space Program Development on 2comnet.info/download. First of all, as a host, you may put a nice logo. I think logo is really important because it is the face of your organization. It is more than just an image, and it is meant to visually communicate the unique identity of your organization and what it actually represents. Then you may start with a short introduction, and like here, for example, you may explain what is CanSat and what are the educational values of this project, and that will already provide the first impression, establish the credibility with anyone reading the introduction, and it is definitely a good preparation for the competition content. I'm sure we all know what CanSat is and its values, so I will skip reading this introduction and move on to the project phases. The National CanSat Rocketry competition consists of 3 phases. Phase 1. Preparation of the National CanSat Rocketry Competition Launch Campaign. Phase 2. National CanSat Rocketry Competition Launch Campaign. And finally, Phase 3. Post-launch campaign activities. Before we start explaining Phase 1 into details, it is important to mention the student team eligibility conditions. In order for a student team to be accepted on the competition, the following conditions have to be fulfilled. First one, each team must have 3 members, respecting one of the following conditions. All 3 team members are students enrolled full-time in a university or similar higher educational institution. Or, the most recommended option, is to have 2 team members that are students enrolled full-time in a university or similar higher educational institution, and 1 team member is their professor or mentor. Second one, elementary and secondary educational students cannot participate in this competition. Alright, so let's start with explanation of the project phases. Phase 1. Preparation of the National CanSat Rocketry Competition Launch Campaign. All teams participating in the National CanSat Rocketry Competition Launch Campaign will have to carry out technical work on their CanSats, applying the procedures used in the typical life cycle of a real space project, which are selection of mission objectives, definition of technical requirements necessary to achieve these objectives, design of hardware and software, design of ground station or ground telecommunication system, and finally, integration and testing of the CanSat before the launch campaign starts. Phase 2. National CanSat Rocketry Competition Launch Campaign. The highlight of your competition is the launch campaign. In this part, you may set the timeline, and the first deadlines you should be setting are the start and end dates of your campaign. You may define the goal of your National CanSat Rocketry competition. You may also establish how you will measure success, etc. So here, let's say we clearly have defined that the CanSat of each team will be launched by a rocket. For example, it may be launched by a drone or helium balloon. This will be your decision of your organization. Then the CanSats will separate from the rocket, conduct their mission, and land on the ground to be recovered by the teams. The team's CanSats must be flight ready in time for the launch campaign. A jury of experts will be nominated by the name of your organization and to evaluate the teams and their work. The jury will select the winning team based on the criteria listed in section 4. We will go through that later on. This is the outline of the launch campaign. Just an example of our Committee for Space Program Development. This outline may be longer or shorter depending on what your organization decides. This document is available on our website and you may download it and have a better look at that. I will move on to the phase 3, post-launch campaign activities. Bear in mind that this phase is not strictly necessary. However, if your organization decides to proceed with phase 3, it is important to mention that all teams will be requested to prepare and submit their CanSat report. Also, it should contain maximum 10 pages and must summarize the work done before, during, and after the launch campaign, with a special focus on the results obtained. All reports must be published by the name of your organization to the national and international community. Mission overview. The National CanSat Rocketry Competition is designed to simulate all aspects of a real satellite mission, including design, development, testing, launch, operations, and data analysis, by means of teamwork. The rocket launch. The rockets for the launch campaign will be provided by the name of your organization. The rockets would deploy its parachute at apogee, together with the CanSat. Just after the apogee, 0 to 2 seconds later, the CanSat would separate from the rocket and make separate parachute descent. The recovery of the CanSat cannot be guaranteed. However, it is advised to integrate with the GPS for its easy location and/or with additional beacons. CanSat mission. The team must build a CanSat and program it to accomplish the following compulsory mission: to measure air pollution after release and during descent, and transmit this data as telemetry to the ground station at least once every 2 seconds. During the post-flight analysis, it must be possible for the team to analyze the data obtained and display it in graphs. However, teams can have their own additional features as they wish or capable to demonstrate during the mission. CanSat technical requirements. Technical requirements come from a number of sources, including functional, performance, interface, environmental, safety, human interfaces standards such as reliability, sustainability, productivity, and others. Consideration and inclusion of all types of requirements is needed in order to form a complete and consistent set of technical requirements from which the system will be architected and designed. Meeting the requirements for the launch campaign. To verify that the CanSats are suitable for launch, a technical inspection will take place at the beginning of the National CanSat Rocketry Competition launch campaign, and of course they have certain requirements. Technical requirements are the technical issues that must be considered to successfully complete a project. These are aspects such as performance, reliability, availability that your project must meet in order to proceed with the project. Evaluation and scoring. The jury, which is appointed by your organization, will be comprised of CanSat experts, education experts, or engineers and scientists who will evaluate the team's performances during Phase 2. The jury members will score the teams during the launch campaign and announce the results after the finals. The jury will typically have 3 to 5 members, and their fields of expertise can vary from science to engineering or education. The jury board is usually comprised of science, space science or engineering expert, IT electronic expert, education expert, radio communication expert, or rocketry experts. Scoring. Performance in the following areas will be evaluated. A. Technical achievement. The aspects evaluated will be mission technical complexity and performance of the mission. B. Scientific value. The aspects evaluated will be scientific relevance, scientific understanding, and technical reporting. C. Professional competencies. The aspects evaluated will be teamwork, adaptability, and communication. And D. Outreach. The aspects evaluated will be web pages, blogs, presentations, promotional material, media coverage, etc. This is an example of the marking scheme and its overall balance. Of course, this could be different depending on your organization, with some additional rules. For example, that one team can't receive more than one prize, and special jury awards may be presented to the unique approaches of teams for their novelty. And last but not least, location of competition, participation fees, organizers and supporters, application and deadline for application, and contact. So that will be a document and rules and propositions for anyone aiming to organize national CanSat competition. Again, just a reminder, this document is available on our website to comnet.info/download, and it's free. You may download it. If someone wishes to become just a World CanSat Rocketry Championship promoter, he or she may consider passing all the information published by CSPD to the students in your country. This only applies if the country doesn't have an organized national CanSat rocketry competition, because the organizer of the national competition has an advantage over the promoter. For example, in case of existence of national CanSat rocketry competition, the organizer is also the promoter of the World CanSat Rocketry Championship. Following this webinar, you will have 4 weeks to think carefully about whether you have the opportunity to organize the national CanSat rocketry competition in your country, and to let us know. If we do not receive such information after the expiration of these 4 weeks, we will publish calls for promoters, which will refer to the countries that do not have the possibility to organize the national CanSat rocketry competition. Anyone who dedicates to be the organizer of the national CanSat rocketry competition should inform us on cspd.office@gmail.com until 27th of July 2020. So this would be the end of my presentation. If you have any questions or remarks, please send them to the email address displayed on the screen, and of course I will be more than happy to answer. Thank you for your attention.